Welcome back to the Keto Vegan, where the carbs are lovely and low and the plants are prevalent, but mostly in protein form. The science is surprisingly scandalous today. I'm Rachel, and today I'm going to look at a serious topic, and that is antibiotics. Not the kind that you rush to the GP with because you've got a really sore throat that hasn't gone away and you've got a really bad cold for 3 or 4 weeks, a bit like me now. Isn't it ironic when I think about doing an episode on antibiotics? I'm ill for the first time for years. Not really ill, just a heavy cold, and it's not going. This episode is about the global crisis of antimicrobial resistance, or AMR. Now, if you think this is down to GPs giving out prescriptions for antibiotics like giving out Tic Tacs, think again. The real villain would probably be on the meat eater's dinner plate. Science is saying, can antibiotics possibly stop working? The answer to that is yes. This is a serious matter. So where is the issue? It's the global factory farms. I've put a link to an article by Professor Devi Sridhar. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing their name right. It is a life or death serious situation with AMR, antimicrobial resistance. And it needs to matter to all of us, not just meat eaters. If you're a vegan, it matters to you as well. So stay tuned to find out just how worried we need to be. We know our average lifespan is 80s, getting into 90s, some people. How old were your great-grandparents and their life expectancy? It was at least 20 years less than that. Why is this? Because of antibiotics. Antibiotics have expanded our lifespan, and we are living longer, we are living healthier, we are using antibiotics to stay alive. Without antibiotics, we wouldn't be able to have surgeries, we wouldn't have any safe C-sections. The King's Fund have quoted, if we lose antibiotics, we lose modern medicine. They are a highly respected independent think tank based in London, England. They use research, analysis, advocacy to improve health and social care in England. Now, they're not part of the NHS, but they do often advise and offer strategies to the NHS for advancements and medicines. Basically, it's people who know their stuff. There's lots of data to support what they are researching. They're not just making up fluffy ideas. And if they are saying, without antibiotics, we basically lose modern medicine, we need to start listening. Now, what is AMR? It's not people becoming resistant to antibiotics. It's the pathogens. It's the bacteria that is learning to thrive. It's learning to survive. It's learning to adapt. It's the bacteria, the pathogens that are becoming resistant to antibiotics. So what's been affected? UTIs, pneumonia, post-surgery infections becoming untreatable. What is the role of the UK in all of this? This is great. We're actually surprisingly good with this. We are one of the lowest countries for AMRs. In fact, the UK's success is in the top 3 globally in AMR control. And credit there goes to Dame Sally Davies with her work across animal and human sectors. But we can't be complacent. If you live in the UK, we cannot be complacent. It is a global issue. And bacteria and pathogens don't decide just to stay in their little country or their big country and don't jump on an aeroplane and come across to other countries. We know that because of the global pandemic back in 2019, 2020. So what's the real culprit with this antibiotic resistance from the pathogens? It's not humans. It's not doctors over-prescribing antibiotics to humans because we've got a bit of a cold. Doctors don't prescribe antibiotics for that, do they? Anyway, not in this country, anyway. It is industrial animal farming. Guess what the percentage is? Actually, you don't need to guess. I'm just about to tell you. It's 80% of antibiotics are given to livestock. Now, these figures, you know me, I like to check my research, are supported by the World Health Organization, the CDC, that's the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and there's peer-reviewed research to back up those figures. Why do animals need so many antibiotics? Are they really poorly? Are they really ill? And do they need looking after by the vets? No, no, that is not why they have antibiotics. Why do they have antibiotics? To make them grow quicker, to make them get fatter quicker, so they can be slaughtered younger, so they can produce cheap meat to end up on people's dinner plates. Also, to prevent them getting disease because of the horrendous and cramped conditions they are reared in. So these antibiotics are given to healthy animals so they can end up on somebody's plate at a price that is cheap, reasonable. So to save 2-3 quid for a family dinner, they are pumping in antibiotics to these animals and causing this massive resistance, which could wipe us out. Survival of the fittest, survival of the healthiest. Are we going to go back to those days? If you're in the UK, we're doing really well. I know, isn't that good? But we cannot be complacent. AMR is a global issue. So, okay, UK is really good with AMR control. So where are the issues? Can you guess? It's middle income countries, countries such as China, Brazil, India, those, and add on factory farming to that, it's a hotbed for AMR. In 2018, there was a study in the journal Nature that talked about colistin resistant bacteria. And this was traced back to pig farmers in China. So what is colistin? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. It is a last resort antibiotic. Colistin is used when all other antibiotic options have failed. It is that last resort. It belongs to the polymyxin family. Honestly, I've done the research. I don't know exactly what polymyxin family is, but if you want to do some further research and check all this out, that's why I'm giving you this information. It dates back to the 1950s. Now, they didn't use it to begin with because it negatively affected the kidneys. It was toxic. There were toxic side effects. The kidneys were detrimentally affected. So they decided to stop using it because it was too toxic. However, it's been brought back into use because the pathogens, the bacteria, are getting more and more resistant to our antibiotics that we use more regularly. And if bacteria gets resistant to colistin, we're nearly out of options, or we might be out of options. So what is it about this research that the 2018 Nature article found out? So in 2006, colistin, this antibiotic, was regularly used by Chinese pig farmers to promote quicker growth for quicker slaughter, so pork on the plate. And researchers traced the emergence of colistin-resistant bacteria from those pigs through farm workers and then globally via human travel and trade. By 2018, this gene was found in clinical samples in Europe, including hospitals in London. So a farming practice in one country led to last-line antibiotic resistance across the world. This is not a scary story. This is not theoretical. It has happened. Okay, so why don't we just create some new antibiotics? It's not the answer, unfortunately. There's a lot of slow progress in developing new antibiotics. And there's only been 2 new classes since 2017. That's from the World Health Organization, 2 new classes of antibiotics. Bugs are evolving much faster than pharmaceutical companies develop drugs. There's very little interest for pharmaceutical companies to develop antibiotics. Why is that? It doesn't bring in long-term profits. They're used short-term and then stopped. People don't need them all the time. It's not like other meds where you have to take them for months or whatever. So Big Pharma is not interested in developing new antibiotics. It's not cost-effective for them. What's this got to do with the keto vegan? Even if you don't eat animals, it does affect you. Resistant pathogens don't just stay with meat eaters. Oh my God, wouldn't that be motivational to stop eating meat? If if vegans didn't ever get ill and only meat eaters did, and they were particularly susceptible to these diseases. Oh my God, that would be so motivational, wouldn't it? Anyway, that doesn't happen. These bacteria don't know if you're a vegan or a meat eater. They're going to get you. They, as I've said, their job is to thrive and survive and to evolve, and it's doing really well. It's doing its job great. The use of antibiotics in farming is a public health issue. It's not a dietary one. But for us, drastically reducing global meat consumption will reduce antibiotic use, will mean that these pathogens, these bacteria, will not have such opportunities to evolve and change and become resistant, because there won't be so many antibiotics used. If you're vegan, you're doing the job already. You are part of the motion to save the globe, to save the world, to save people, not just animals, to save people from dying from a common illness that in the past antibiotics would have been able to treat. So what can we do? Global action, global coordination is absolutely key. The big industries, the governments need to do something. They need to follow our example in the UK. Isn't that wonderful? But what about you? What about individuals? So the advice is don't pressure your GP into giving you antibiotics. We become stronger the less help we get. When my son, who is now 20, shit, how old are you, Jack? Are you 27? Yes, because what's the month? It's April, yes. When my son, who is now 27, I'm such a good mother. I have to go with the year. They're all very close in age. Just, I can't work it out. When he was about 1 year old, he got pneumonia. And I was living in Kent, Maidstone in Kent back then. And the GP we used was very natural. He hated giving out antibiotics. So he let Jack fight the pneumonia on his own. However, Jack got more and more poorly, and then this GP did give us antibiotics. But Jack is so rarely ill now. Yeah, that's right. He's so rarely ill. So that some GPs would give out antibiotics really quickly, especially to a baby. But my daughter, who's got a 17-month-old, she's very reluctant to let the GP give her antibiotics to help our immunity. So one thing we can do, don't pressure your GP for antibiotics. My advice, take vitamin D, vitamin C if you're feeling run down. What else can you do? Support regulations against use of antibiotics in farming unless there is disease and the animal is ill. Eat plant-based, normalize it, get your arguments together, be compassionate, be kind, don't force it down people's throats. There's that joke, isn't there? How do you know if somebody's vegan? Oh, because they tell you. Yeah. Let people know so that here more and more people are becoming vegan. It's becoming much more, it's becoming the norm, if only. And also factory created meats. That's going to be antibiotic free. A couple of episodes ago. Look at that one. To sum it up then, AMR, antimicrobial resistance, is not a distant threat. It's a real issue now. The scientists are researching it. It is a concern. Honestly, read that article. If you don't believe me, have a look at that article, do some research as well. Don't forget that resisting AMR starts with resisting intensive animal farming. It's one step. And if you've got this far, share the episode, leave a review, subscribe and follow for even more amazing tips about all of this stuff. Hope you found that episode informative, interesting, life-changing. Honestly, if one of my episodes gets you thinking even more about getting rid of the meat on your plate, let me know. I'd love to hear about that. I'd love it if you shared the episode, leave a review, follow, subscribe. Tune in next week to find out what I'm going to talk about.